and hips today. So this is stretching with strength. So this is just going to finish up what Tina just did to you. I don't know what she did to you. So let's do this. So what before you get too comfy, you guys got a yoga block? Grab a yoga block if you have it. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. Okay? So let's start off. Like I said, we're gonna focus hips and low back. We pick kind of a body part to focus, an area to focus on every week. And so let's do this. So just sit cross-legged. Here's what I always ask you to do. Sit cross-legged. This is your default, right? Let's change it up. Switch that cross. Keep the body guessing, guys. Keep the body guessing. Loosely place your hands on your knees. And we're just going to roll. You already got some movement through your body with Tina today. I saw a little bit of what you were doing. It was awesome. So we're just going to finish this up with some strength and stability. We're going to find out where your body doesn't want to move and find out where it does. So let's do this. Let's recross the legs and let's circle the opposite way. So go ahead and keep circling. Keep circling. You can just let your spine move freely. Let everything move freely. Let your head just follow along. It might want to just move in different directions. Just really get it loose. Let's loosen up the shoulders a little bit. We got to pay attention to every part. I want you to squeeze your shoulders up to your ears. Give it a hard squeeze. Give it a squeeze, like you got earrings there. Now push your shoulders down. And when you push your shoulders down, I want you to think of your shoulder blades going into what would be your back pockets. So push those shoulders down. So not only are we moving the ends of our arms, we're moving our shoulder blades. So squeeze those shoulder blades up, squeeze them up. If you're sitting at your desk all day and you need a little relief, put emphasis on what's moving. That's your shoulder blades, not just your shoulders. Now push those shoulder blades down in your back pocket. Push them, push them, push them. And let's take our arms out. Let's lace our fingertips and push our palms forward. And bring your palms forward. Now, as you bring your palms forward, round your back a little bit. Think about stretching your shoulder blades apart. Where are those shoulder blades? Spread them apart. Spread them apart. Now you can unlace your hands and you can push your shoulders to the back wall, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Let's lace our fingers and push, 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 round your upper back. Push your shoulder blades apart. Unlock your hands. Squeeze those shoulder blades. Lead with the shoulder blades, pushing them back behind you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's go to hands and knees. We're going to open up the low back. And then we'll move into strengthening the hips a little bit. So get in your quadruped position. And what I like to tell you is I want your hands directly under your shoulders. I want your knees directly under your hips. This is tabletop for a reason. You've got to be a nice sturdy table. You don't want your hands way out here. You don't want back like this. You got to have a nice sturdy table, okay? Now what I want you to do is flatten your feet to the floor. And I want you to bring your chin to your chest. And as you do, I want you to think of your navel coming up through your back to the ceiling. So you're rounding your back, chin to your chest. You're looking between your knees. Now keep that rounded back. And I want you to push your hips back to your heels while you keep that nice rounded back. You're pulling your navel into your spine. Once you get back as far as you can, drop your elbows to the floor, lift your chin, drop your belly, let it hang, and slide your chest up between your hands like a cobra. Come back up to tabletop. So let's do that again. It's a nice slow flow. I want you to pull your navel to the ceiling, rounding your back, dropping your chin to your chest, pushing your hips back, back, back towards your heels. Go where you can. Once you're there, drop your elbows to the floor. Lift your chin, drop your belly. Slide your chest up through your hands. Let's do that one more time. We're opening up the spine. Chin to your chest, navel to the ceiling, round, round, round. Push it back, push it back. Nice opening for the spine. Lift your chin, drop your belly, slide your chest up through your hands. All right, let's go down on our backs. If you've got a yoga block, you can put it between your knees. You can grab a pillow if you want. You don't really need it. But before you go all the way down to your back, I want you to take this opportunity to engage your abdominals, okay? Don't miss a moment to get some strength into your body. So just roll down one vertebrae at a time, pulling your navel in. And now we're flat on our back. Go ahead and put your arms loosely by your side. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to just do some squeezes of our glutes, okay? So what I want you to do is take that buttocks and squeeze it together. We're not lifting. We're just squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Now, if you have a yoga block between your knees, you're going to feel a gentle squeeze there. That's going to work the inside of the legs. And just release. Now, I want you to squeeze your glutes together. Just squeeze the glutes. We're not lifting. We want to get used to squeezing the glutes before we lift our hips. So go ahead and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then release. Now, in this next squeeze, we're going to hold the squeeze and we're going to do a lift. So go ahead and squeeze those glutes. You got a nice tight grip on those glutes. You got a quarter in there. You're not going to let it go. And I want you to keep that squeeze. And I want you to lift your hips nice and steady. You've got these little pointy hip bones here. I want you to shoot them up to the ceiling, nice and level. You can even put your hands on your hips right now. Just gently put them on your hips. You're still squeezing. Now lower down and try to lower it down real level. Lower it down really level. Nice and slow. We're taking the momentum out and release. And go ahead and bring those knees towards your chest. Let's put our feet on the floor. We're going to do it again. I want you to squeeze your glutes. Keep squeezing and lift your hips up to the ceiling. Lift, 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 lift. The harder you squeeze on the back side, the higher your lift's going to be, the more open your hip flexors up front are going to be. If you get tight hip flexors, this is the ticket right here. Now, keep squeezing. Try to keep your hip bones level as you lower them down to the floor. Nice and steady. Very good, very good, very good. Bring your knees to your chest. Nice little squeeze. Let's do that one last time. All right, hands are down by your side. You're going to squeeze your glutes and you're going to lift, 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 lift. So each of these moves, we're doing a few of each of these moves just to teach you things that might feel good to your body, that your body might need. And you take these moves, you learn them, and you put them in your daily routine, whichever ones. Pick and choose what feels good to you, what's helping you open up and lower down. Lower down. And bring your knees to your chest. And if you find one that you really like and you want me to do a one-on-one with you and say, this is how we fine tune this, this is what we do, I'm happy to do that. Go ahead and take the yoga block out from behind your knees. If you have it, I want you to put it under your low back, not your low back, but under your sacrum, which is right below that flat bony part, right below the end of your spine. And it keeps your hips nice and level. If you don't have it, you're doing it right from the floor, or you can put your hands right under your hips. I probably recommend you put your hands under your hips if you don't have the yoga block. So we're going to take this yoga block and I'm putting it horizontally under here. So it's supporting both hip bones. All right. So now bring your feet up off the floor. And I want you to bring your legs straight up in the air. So go where you can with your legs. And now what we're going to do, we're going to work our ankles a tiny bit as we open up our hips. So you're going to point your toes, point your ankles, and you're going to open your legs out wide. While they're out there wide, I want you to flex your feet. And then I want you to think of squeezing your inner thighs back together like you got a beach ball in there. You're going to squeeze it. Point your feet. Open your legs out wide. And don't go beyond that tight stretch. I mean, you'll get a little stretch here. Flex your feet and squeeze your legs back together. Point your feet and open your legs out wide. Now flex your feet. And when I say flex your feet, I don't want you just to do the toes to bring it back together. Bring your feet, your legs back together. So when you point your feet, I want you to think of your heel coming towards your calf. I don't want you to think of your toes pointing your foot. I want your ankle to do the work. So go ahead and point your feet, think of that heel, open the legs out wide. Now flex your feet. So I want you to think of the top of your foot coming towards your shin, the front of your leg. Squeeze your leg back together. Okay, while your legs are together, I want you to bend your knees and open them out. Your feet stay together. We're doing little froggy kicks now. So your feet are lined up side by side together. And then I want you to push out at an angle and your legs will come back together. So we're getting a little tummy work in here. So you're at an angle now, wherever you're comfortable in your low back. Go ahead and open the knees out, bring the feet towards you together, and then push, push, push your legs away, your feet away. Go ahead and open. Now I want you to hold your navel tight into your spine. If it's good if you have your hands under your hips or the yoga block because it's going to support that low back as we do this. And if you're feeling any stress in your low back, I want you to lift your legs a little higher. So your legs could be up here. I want you to bring your feet towards your body. And then I want you to push your feet away from your body and bring it back and push it away. All right, let's bring those feet back to the floor. Release your hands or the yoga block from underneath you. We're going to go into a figure four. We're going to work back towards the hips. That was a little low back support. So I want you to take your left leg, left ankle, and place it on your right knee. Now, a lot of times in classes, they'll just say, go ahead and push that knee out. I don't want you to do that for this particular class because this is stretching with strength. So we're going to focus on the muscle that opens that hip up. The muscle that opens that hip up is right back here. So I want you to take this glute and I want you to squeeze it. And then I want you to work your knee open. So you're squeezing on the back side here. And you're opening your knee. So just let it come back to neutral. And I want you to do it with your hip. I want your hip to be opening up your knee. So push it out there, push it out there, push it out there, and come back. Let's switch sides and see how even we are. So the goal in life is to be symmetrical, at least for our body. So you might find a little bit difference when we go over to this side. So same thing, your right knee right is on your left knee. And I want you to open up that hip and see how it rotates. You're doing it right from this hip joint.
Put it out on the side.
The muscles that are tightening are on the back side. And then release. And then squeeze that hip. Open it out, and release it. Okay, let's go back to that first side. So you're going to put your left ankle on your right knee. You're going to open it out. And now we're going to bring a little bit more of a passive stretch. I want you to grab between your thigh, and I want you to bring that leg to you. So now we're getting a stretch, but we're not pushing our knee out with our hand. We're opening it by squeezing the backside of our hip. So go where you can go. Don't force anything. You've got to stop there for a reason. Just breathe into it. Breathe into it. All right, take it down. Now let's take the other foot, put it on your knee, or your ankle on your knee, and we're going to bring that leg up. We've got a little background noise. Somebody has an open mic.
You still gotta come out. What time did your cycle
Go
truck come?
ahead and open that, open that, open that. You're
I'll
bringing
figure out
your
something.
towards your chest.
I'll figure out something.
You're bringing your knee towards your chest.
Fresh out of the other, what other thing?
And let's take it down. Okay, guys,
No.
here we're gonna do a little bit of a windshield wiper. So I want you to drop your
I don't
knee,
want them to take that
Oh.
one though.
dropping over to the
I don't want them
left.
to take it.
Hey, somebody's got an open mic.
Oh,
Just you figure it out.
Let's see here. So now take those knees and drop it over to the other side. Doesn't that feel good? So let's put a little bit more movement in this. We're going to bring them back up to the center, drop them over to the left, come back to the center, drop them to the right, come back to the center, drop them to the left, center, and right, rolling through those hips. Okay, so now we're going to elongate the back of our leg, the hamstring. So we're going to go back into that figure 4 is what I call it. So your right foot is on your left knee. You're going to bring that left leg up toward you. You're going to grab behind that leg. And now you're going to straighten the left leg. So straighten it to the ceiling and then bend it and straighten and bend and straighten. So go where you can. Don't force it into pain. Just go to that stop and bend. And let's switch sides. So go ahead and take your left ankle onto your right knee. Grab through your right leg and straighten that leg. See if there's a difference. You might feel a little more tightness on this side. This side might move a little better. We are all unique in our tightness. So let's just work it individually. And like I said before, if you guys have any questions about any of these, just you know how to get a hold of me. Reach out to me through our Shooting Stars, I believe it is now, WhatsApp group, and straighten it. All right, let's sit up. So use those abs as you roll yourself up. Use those abs. All right, so now we're seated. Okay. So let's go back to the windshield wipers in a seated position. This is going to change what area of the hip we're working. So bring your feet a little farther than hip width apart. And now I want you to drop your knees to the left and just let that nice stretch go through there. And then drop your knees to the right and drop them to the left and drop them to the right. Let's do one more on each side. Then we're going to engage our core as we move our hips around. All right, so here's the deal, folks. We're going to try to sit up real tall. We're pulling our navel into our spine. I want you to take your right leg back behind you. Your left leg is your prop in front, just like this. So I want you to take your hands up like genie arms, and I want you to take your right leg, swing it around to the front, and then take it back and put it back where it came from. So with this move, to engage your core and strengthen your core, I want you to keep this as firm and as straight as possible as we're moving the hip. Now you will get a little tilt, and you bring it around and come back up. Let's do that again. Swing that leg around in front and bring it back. One more time. Swing it around. So we're really working these glutes here. This muscle right here, your gluteus medius, is what starts your whole walk. If you're walking, you got to have strong gluteus medius, okay? So let's stretch that out a little bit. Take your left hand and put it behind you. And I want you to rise up to your knees. And I want you to reach your right arm up to the ceiling. And I want you to think of shoulder to shoulder, arm to arm being one straight line. And reach up and push this hip forward. You're going to squeeze on the backside to get this hip pushed forward. So reach, 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 and take it down. All right, let's switch sides. We got to be even. So now your right leg's in front, your left leg's in back. We got our genie arms. I'll tell you in advance, this one's going to be a little harder for me. But I want you to swing that left leg out and around and then bring it back to where it started. And swing it out and around. And if you experience any cramping or something, stop through this move, stretch it out, swing out and around. You've got it. Bring it back, holding that core in, swing out and around. Bring it back. One more. Swing out and around. And bring it back. Nice. Now we get to stretch that thing out. So you're going to plant your right hand behind you. Left arm goes up to the ceiling. And you're going to push this hip forward by squeezing the backside, just like when we started the class. You squeeze the backside of that glute. It's going to open up the front here, nice and pretty. Really squeeze that backside and push up, push up, push up. Feel that blood flow go through there. All right. So let's stay in this position. Just drop your hips back to the floor. I want you to plant both of your hands over on the right side. So it's like we're going to go into a little bit of a side push-up. So we're over here. Our hands are planted over on the right. And I want you to just bring your chest towards the floor and then push up. So it's a push up, so to speak. Bring your chest towards the floor and push up. But we're getting some nice stretching work in through the hips as we do this. Chest to the floor and push it up. So let's switch sides. Swing your legs around. So your left leg's in front, your right leg's behind. You're going to come over to the left side. You're going to line your hands up kind of side by side and bring them out a little bit so you can bring your chest towards the floor and push up. This should feel really good for this opposite hip back here. Push, take it down to the floor where you can go and push it up. And down to the floor and push it up. All right. So we're going to go back to the other side. We're going to do that without our hands, if you can. If this doesn't feel like a go, you go ahead and use your hands like we just did. I'm going to put my hands behind my back. Now, I'm not as able to twist around as much as I was, but I'm going to twist as much as I can. I'm actually twisting so I'm over the top of that bent leg. And I'm going to lean my torso forward and I'm going to lift it up. So we're engaging the core. I'm leaning my torso forward over that bent knee and I'm bringing it up. So lean forward and bring it up. Good job. Let's switch sides. So you've got one bent knee in front, one in the back. We're going to twist towards the bent knee in front. Our arms are behind our back or wherever they're comfortable. And you're using your core. So pull your navel in. You're going to lean, lean, lean over and pull it up. And lean, lean over and pull it up. And lean forward. And use your core to pull yourself up. All right, good job, good job. So now let's work the top of the quad a little bit. We're going to work the front of the hip. If you have a wall you can back up to, go ahead and back up to that wall. What you're going to want to do is you want to sit up nice and tall. You don't want to be rounded over. And you're going to bend your right knee and bring it in towards your chest and grab a hold of it. And then you're going to flex your left ankle. And remember, when we flex our left ankle, we're bringing the top of our foot towards our shin. We're not thinking of the toes pulling us back. We want that ankle joint to move. So I want you to sit up as tall as you can. Shoulders are back and down in your back pocket. Tummy's pulled in tight. And we're going to lift that heel up off the floor and put it down slowly. Lift, lower, lift, lower, lift, lower. And I recommend you doing this against the wall if you have one. Then there's no cheating. And the closer your hips are to the wall, the harder it is. So you might have your hips all the way back up to the wall and go, my foot doesn't level off the ground. So I want you to scoot your butt away from the wall a little bit and do it that way. So let's switch legs. So get that ankle flexed, not the toes, get the ankle flexed. Lift and lower. So if you guys have lack of mobility in your ankles, it's probably going to translate to your knees as pain, to your hips as pain, or to your low back as pain. All our joints must be mobile so we don't suffer pain other places. Typically where your immobility is not where your pain is. That's when you have to be a little bit of a detective and say, what's not moving that's causing these other parts of my body to get stressed out? And we're lifting and lowering. Let's go ahead and switch. We're going to do 3 sets of these. So I want you to bring your ankle back and I want you to lift your heel up off the floor. Your back is nice and tall and straight. And you're lifting and lowering. And you should feel a really nice tightness in your quad here. This is great work for your quads, especially if your knees might hurt a little bit, because you're not bending and extending the knee joint, but you're strengthening the muscles around it. So you're going to lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Switch sides. So if you do experience knee pain, it's typically not coming, the problem is not in your knee, okay? So get your hips checked out, get your ankles checked out. Keep lifting and lowering because something is not lined up right, causing wear and tear at this joint. That knee joint is a very simple joint. It's a hinge. It's just made to bend and extend. It's not made to be torqued and twisted because our hips aren't moving correctly. So I want you to just be aware of how the hips are moving. Be aware of how the ankles are moving. Focus on increasing mobility in those joints. One last set, guys, on this side. So go ahead and lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. And it does not have to be a big lift. Let's switch to the other side. Back is nice and tall and straight. It's going to be harder. The straighter your back is, the harder it is to lift your leg. So if it's getting real easy, you might have just slumped into some bad posture. Can't have that. You guys look really good. Lift and lower. All right. Let's just get those quads stretched out one last time. We're going to take one leg behind us, one in front, rise up to your knees, give a nice push up and through, up and through. And let's switch it to the other side. Finish up with this one. And go ahead and get some blood flow into that quad we just contracted. So now we're making it long, but we're making it long by squeezing the backside and pushing our hips forward. Stretching with strength, everybody. You have to have strength to have flexibility. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you, Chris.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Bye.
Have a good day, everybody.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That's the square one. Mini curve. Okay. Here it is. The Hawk. Blue Hawk 32-gallon blue outdoor recycling bin. Here it is. Yeah, that's the one with, it's got a top to it. Or this one right here. Yeah, yeah. Well, the one with the top blows off, and that's it. Because the black one had a top. I know, but they break it when you, they're not conscious of it. You know, they're just like trying to just